Boys and girls, today we're going to be creating a bee, and we're going to use paper to make our bee, and then Mrs. Walker is going to call you up one at a time to create some texture on your black paper using some bubble wrap and paint. We're going to make it look like a honeycomb that the bee might be living in. Okay, so this Mrs. Walker will have each person come up individually, but while I'm having people come up, you're going to be making your own bee. Okay, so you're going to have some yellow paper, some white paper, and some black paper at your table. Your first job is to make a circle on your yellow paper. And Mrs. Walker has different things in the room that you can trace around that are circular. I'm just going to use this roll of tape for now. Sometimes I have lids, depending on where we're at. But you're going to trace a circle on there and then cut your circle out. And once you have that circle, you're ready to start adding the stripes on his body. So to make stripes, you're going to have some black paper, and you want them to be long strips, right? So all you have to do is start on the short end, and you're just going to cut parallel to the long end. So I'm just going to cut. Now I can make these as skinny as I want. If I want to have thick stripes like this, I can make them like that. If I want my stripes to be skinnier, I just cut closer to that line. Okay, and you can see these are way too long, right? So once you get them cut out, then you can lay them next to your bee and just kind of cut them to about the right size that you want them to be. That looks about right. And look, these might work even for down here. Might work, right? Okay, now I'm looking at these skinny ones and this one big fat one. I think I'm going to make him skinnier just because those are skinny. I like the fat ones too. You can see I used fat ones on this one, but I think I'm going to do skinny on this one. Maybe this one's a little bit longer. Okay, once you have your stripes cut out, you're going to glue them down, and you know if you're using the glue bottles with the red lids, I mean, these are the ones that if you open them, you have to twist it to open it, and we don't use those very often in kindergarten, do we, or first grade. We use these, and these are already open. All you have to do is push down. So I'm just going to push down to get it going, and then it'll put little dots along my stripe, and then my stripe is ready to stick on, right? Then flip it over and stick it down. Do the same thing on this one. Dot, dot, dot. And I think the saying is dot, dot, not a lot, right? We don't need big dots, right? That's just the right amount. If we put big dots, it squishes out the sides and makes a big old mess, doesn't it? That's what's nice about these, is they just do just the right amount of the dot. Okay, now what else does a bee need? Well, he needs a stinger, right? Because all bees have a little stinger. You don't have to put these. I put little antennas. He almost looks like he's grumpy, but you can do, for sure, everybody needs a stinger. So I'm going to cut a diagonal line. See how that makes a triangle? So you can go anywhere on your little leftover pieces and cut a diagonal line, and it'll make you a little stinger-like thing. And just experiment with this. If I want to have antennas, I could just cut right through the middle here and make some skinny pieces and just put those on there like that. Okay? It doesn't have to be the exact same shape. Alright, so for a stinger, I just need a little bit of glue on this end because I want that to stick off, right? So I'm going to do that. And then I need some eyes. So for your eyes, you're going to want smaller circles, aren't you? And Mrs. Walker has other things in the room that you can trace for circles, but I'm going to fold this paper in half because I want to only have to cut one time. So I'm going to fold it in half, and you can either draw or trace. I'm going to trace the end of this because I think this would work really good for a circle. I'm just going to hold it down and take my pencil and draw a circle around it. And then I'm going to pinch those two pieces together so that when I get done cutting, I will have one, not just one circle, but I'll actually have two circles. So I won't even have to cut. And I gotta really hold on tight to them or they're gonna fall apart here. There we go. Okay. And then once you have those circles, you can glue them on. And then my last thing for those eyes is I am going to use, you could use probably black paper if you wanted to for the to put in the center of the eyes, but I think Mrs. Walker's going to use a Sharpie here because that would work too, right? If I take my, or it doesn't even have to be a Sharpie, or just a marker. I'm going to take a marker and I'm going to draw a circle in the center to make him have his pupils of his eyes. Okay? Now, on this one, I made some wings. You don't have to do wings, but look at all this paper I have left over. So wings, you could probably just do a curved line and you'd have a wing, or you can do like a raindrop shape. I'm just going to go down and curve around and come back up like that. Kind of like a rainbow, or I mean a raindrop. And then I'm going to get two because I'm pinching this together so I can cut both pieces at the same time. If you could cut them out separately, but I like the idea of cutting them out together. And then I'm going to put those there. Let's see, if he wasn't flying, I could tuck his wings in, but I think I want him to be flying, so I'm going to put his wings out like that. And then if you want him to be a little bit grumpy or have antennas, mine looks grumpy rather than just antennas, but I'm going to actually add them to this one too because I think it's kind of cute. I'm going to put those little, let's see, I cut out some extra little pieces. I'm going to stick one of these right here and the other one right here. And I am done, with the exception of putting my name on the back, right? So I'm going to be sure to put my name on the back so that it doesn't get mixed up with anybody else's while it's drying. And then class code, don't forget your class code, and circle it depending on which class you're in. Alright, and then while you're working on this is what Mrs. Walker will be doing with the rest of the class. Let me show you. I'm going to clean up my scraps here really quick, tidy up a little bit. Alright, so the rest of the class is going to be doing this. We're going to be meeting with Mrs. Walker, and we're going to do a little bit of painting. So, we're going to take some paint, and we're going to put that paint onto our bubble wrap here. Roll it on. And once we get it all over our bubble wrap, then we're going to take our bubble wrap and we're going to make a print onto our paper. It's going to make it look like it's a bumpy texture, like it's a real honeycomb. Okay, so then we're just going to flip this over and stamp it down. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a massage. Well, maybe not massage. We don't want to move it around. We're just going to press it lightly like this. Make sure all the paint touches our paper. And then, ta-da! And that is where our V is going to live. We'll glue him right on there, okay? It's like fun, doesn't it? Yep. We'll let that dry and this dry, and then we'll glue them together, okay? All right, have fun.